Hey everyone, Lisa Princic here, back with another episode of the Scaling Deep podcast. Today we're going to talk all about what to do when you've got super low conversions on your program. And we're going to look at what do you change and how do you go about it? Because I know it's a big one for people to not feel like anything's working and to feel distressed because you know you've done everything right and you just cannot figure out what the heck is going on. So let's talk about this. In fact, I just did an entire workshop on how to create a kick-ass membership sales funnel just yesterday. And if you missed out on that and want to grab it, you can still grab the replay on my shop at scalingdeep.com/shop. I think it's really worth it because we went over a lot of stuff. And to be honest, I'm sure the people who even attended are going to watch it several times over because there's so much information in there. So I'm going to share some of the highlights from that and some critical points because a lot of people who join the workshop, and maybe you're out there, have tried to sell things before and felt like it is completely tanked. Like you either didn't get any sales or you just got a few and you thought you'd get way more. Well, first of all, the one thing we get totally wrong is that we have really fantastical goals and dreams. I should call them dreams or maybe just fantasies when it comes to sales. We get so excited about an offer that we think we're going to knock it out of the park and we're going to get like 20 people sign up when we know we only have 100 people who are going to actually even look at the sales page. And that would be like a 20% conversion rate, which does happen sometimes with the right elements. Like, say you've got a great offer, it's at a really good deal, you've built a really strong relationship with your list or your prospects, and you haven't launched for a while, and there's some build up, things like that, right? That can definitely work. And there are still offers even today that are doing so well because it's just so many elements are working in its favor. But that's super high. And mostly 20% doesn't actually exist. And super high for a lot of people is 5% and over. So that actually means getting 5 out of every 100 people to even look at the sales page. I'm not talking about 5% on your overall list of people who don't even check out your offer. I'm talking about 5% of the people who decide to go onto the sales page. So there's a lot of confusion around numbers. And when we set our expectations like super high, we have to like pull it back a little bit and realize that it's a numbers game and you're not just going to miraculously get like so many signups when you don't have that many people in your audience and when only some of them are actually really interested, even checking out what you've got right now, because they may just be busy and they may have thought they had time to, say, watch the webinar or sign up to the challenge, but then didn't even end up participating. And those people aren't people who you can really count on to check out your offer. So that's, starting with realistic numbers. And you can start with projections based on your audience size, but it's also harder to do when you haven't done it before, which is why when you start working on a sales funnel, a live launch, it can be an evergreen funnel, you really want to track the numbers so you can get like a benchmark of what to expect in terms of volume, so that then you can start planning what you can do next and you can start setting those expectations a little bit more in line with what will truly happen. It is probably very rare that someone is blown away about how big their launch would be. Most people tend to feel a little disappointed because we know we have amazing offers, right? We know we have awesome offers and we just expect people to also know how awesome they are. And the biggest problem with sales is not having crappy offers. It's having no ability to communicate how great they are, or just doing it a little bit and not well enough that people actually feel it. They don't feel it on their end. So then what we do is there's this big mistake that a lot of people do. They question their pricing and they want to lower it. And that is a huge no for me, because often the pricing is not wrong. What is truly the issue is, again, the trust, the communication level, all the things that help people feel it and see it and understand it. Okay. So this is what we need to look at to objectively figure out what the problem is. We need to look at things like timing, things like engagement. Like, what if you haven't communicated to your list for a while and they don't even know who you are at some point? And that happens a lot. If you aren't communicating with your audience regularly enough, they actually will forget what they signed up for and not be able to associate you with the thing you're selling because they're on like a million lists. Now, I haven't done that recently. I'm on very few lists, but there was a point a couple months ago where I signed up for a bundle and I was on all kinds of lists and I was like, who's this again? And why are they sending me this? And then I unsubscribed to a bunch. And it might have been just a matter of who happened to have the subject line that caught my attention. And now there's a few still on there who I may not even be paying attention to their offers, but I still know who they are and I know their brand. And that is like a huge benefit because now when they do put something forward that I'm interested in, I will know what their overall business purpose is. I'll know what kinds of things they sell and what they can help me with. And that is in their favor versus the ones that are sending really bland subject lines and they never got me to even open in the first place. So that's a little plug for subject lines and making sure that you're grabbing people's attention. So that's sometimes why things aren't converting at all. Sometimes it's timing. Sometimes it's people haven't warmed up enough to the offer. There's all these reasons, but really like we're going to look through kind of what they are. So we really need to audit your funnel. And I talked about having those numbers so that you can benchmark, so that you can look at, well, where are they not engaged? Like if you can look at your sales page analytics, which is always an excellent number to have because you do want to know how many unique viewers you have on your sales pages so that you can look at it and go, okay, I had 50 people land on my sales page and one person bought. You know that you're averaging at around a 2% conversion rate, which is not terrible. You want your minimum to be 1, but it's also not amazing. And you can do better and you can try to improve that sales page. Because again, over 3% is much more ideal. And also just note that 50 people isn't even that big of a sample size. You honestly want to have it to be probably in the hundreds before you're getting something that can actually come a bit with a bit more accuracy. And also, where are people coming from? So if you have a sales page and you've got warm traffic coming to it, as well as super cold traffic, you can mix them and match them all together, but you might get a rush of people who come in and get high conversions one month and the next month low, because the next month you're getting them from Facebook ads. And the first month you got them from a podcast that went out there and brought in all these people who had already heard you speak to someone for 45 minutes and they really bought into what you were sharing. So sometimes it's even nice to like separate out your funnel if you've got some really clear sources you're trying to track. So I, for example, have a Facebook ads only funnel, so I can really get clear on if sales are coming through, are they coming through that or are they warmer? Meaning like they've searched me on SEO, they heard me speak somewhere, or they came through an organic source that's more having a connection to me versus like a Facebook ad. What's this? This looks fun. Let's sign up. And then never heard of me before, and that they might be paying less attention or feel less of a connection to me. So sometimes that can help. And then you also want to look at how many people are like watching your webinar or reading your lead magnets or even signing into your membership platform where your freebies exist. So, and consuming the content, because if no one's actually doing that, then they aren't going to get to know you. And then by the time you put your offer in front of them, they're not sure at all, what you're selling them because they didn't even bother to get their feet wet in your content, in your perspective, in your unique angle, in your personality. These are all things that help people feel confident in trusting you with their growth, whatever it happens to be, personal or business or what have you. So that's another thing to look at. And then again, I mentioned the numbers already, is like how many people are actually even in your audience in the first place, because you could have a list of thousands of people, but those people could be not very engaged. Your open rate on your emails can be very low. And you're not getting people paying attention at all. So then that might just be an issue with like maybe you're not getting great leads. Maybe you need to find some other ways of bringing people in to your program or to your whole funnel who are more interested in the content that you're luring them with and will actually start to engage in it and look at it, because it's not going to help you if they just get on your list. And that's why some people love doing quizzes, and I'm all for a great quiz. I think some of the quiz funnels can work really, really well, especially in a very tight niche. But if you're doing a really broad quiz for anything that like almost anyone could be like, oh, I'm interested to know if I'm this type, that type, or that type, you're not even helping to narrow, are they even slightly interested in the transformation that you offer with your products and services, your value proposition. And so therefore you can get a lot of people on your list who are just kind of like junk. Like they're not interested. They will ignore, become cold subscribers. You will unsubscribe them, or they will just unsubscribe. And that's why having that be a better, more higher intent lead magnet can make a difference in who you get on there in the first place and how engaged they might be. Quality, age, source, you name it, that all goes into that. So looking at these things is all really critical. It can help you actually fall in love with your funnel, gain more confidence in your offer because you realize that it actually isn't terrible and that you can sell it. You're just not getting enough people in general, not engaging them enough, and or maybe everyone's getting there and the sales page just isn't working its magic, which it absolutely needs to do. So that's just where instead of thinking the whole thing's not doing well, you might even find that, wow, I'm actually converting fairly well, and this is worth working on, instead of trying to do something else completely and starting from scratch with complete unknowns and perhaps worse results. I mean, getting a high converting funnel or even an average converting funnel, I mean, it's okay if it's average, if it's not costing you anything and you're still making profit from it and it's working in the background. I mean, I'm happy to have a funnel selling my membership happen while I'm sleeping. If people are just searching for it online, it doesn't need to convert super high, because let's be really honest, like nobody's converting super high. As I mentioned already, the bigger the audience you have, the broader the outcome you offer, the lower your conversion rates will be. They simply just won't be massively high. Whereas if you're the only person in the world offering the only outcome that anyone else is offering, and you have a list of 100 people, you might get 30 people to sign up because it's that irresistible, because it's so specific and it's so rare. But again, most of us are competing with other types of services, so it's unlikely to get that high. So that's why I would say that getting support to look at your funnel objectively is really important. Having a way to track it is really important. You know how many times I've run to my mentor and said, this sucks. This isn't working. I'm over this. I don't know what to do. And she'll look at it and go, well, your numbers are actually not that bad. I understand your frustration and I can see where you are not getting enough cash flow in or whatever. But she's like, I can't honestly say that there's anything specific you need to dramatically do in order to make a difference, because you're already doing pretty well. And every time I add up my numbers and I measure things at the end, I'm like, oh, it didn't do that badly. So now I just need to figure out how to do more of it at an economical level so that it's not costing me too much time and too much energy and too much money to get those results. So that is that critical piece as well. So that's it, my friends. That is like your pep talk on don't give up on your funnel. Don't get frustrated and want to chuck everything. Please do get some support to analyze it objectively so that you don't get so disappointed with the results when you find out that millions of other people are getting similar results and they just happen to be doing it in a way that is a little more efficient and maybe more profitable. You can work all that stuff out. That is entirely possible. All of this can be learned. You've got your skills, you've got your zone of genius, that is special to you. And then all the rest is all stuff you can learn, skills you can grow. There, it's not rocket science. It just requires playing the game and never giving up. Commitment, commitment, commitment. So please do come over to my recent workshop Maximizing membership sales funnels. You can still get access to it. The replay, it's packed with info at scalingdeep.com/maximize. And it's going to be a super great resource that you can access for years to come. Thanks for listening. Happy funnel building. Bye for now.